Hey y'all, Scott here. Just kidding, it's not Scott, it's me, Xavier, and today I'm going to quickly run through all of the current elements that we have finished in the brand new game that Alex Wilson and I are making called Prepare Yourself Resurrections. This is not really a sequel to the original Prepare Yourself, which I started development on in 2020, because that game never released because I am a terrible programmer. Fortunately, this is a much more freeing kind of game engine that I'm working in here in Game Maker 2. And this game isn't going to be nothing like, really, the original Prepare Yourself. This game is going to be a roguelike platformer, action platformer, Hollow Knight rip-off, kind of Metroidvania, kind of Hollow Knight, kind of action platformer kind of vibe, which allows for a lot more of interesting gameplay. We're going to have bosses, we're going to have enemies, we're going to have all sorts of things. So let me quickly run through what we've got here. So our first feature is the ability to move. You can use W, A, S, and D, or you can use the arrow keys if you'd like. To jump, you press space or Z, and to attack, you can click left click, or you can press X. Now, if you hold W and hit up, or right or left, or any of the directions, up, right, and left, and down if you're jumping, you can hit in those directions, just like Hollow Knight, or really any other 2D platforming, Metroidvania fighting game kind of Hollow Knight kind. Our next little thing here is the breakable block. You hit it, and you can break it. Pretty simple. Our next little thing is this tiny little enemy boy here. He really doesn't do much, he just kind of slides around and then he dies. Our next little thing here is coins. They give you money. Pretty cool. You can see up on the top left we've got some health points. If we get hurt by this enemy, you can see our health will go down, just like Hollow Knight. However, unlike Hollow Knight, you can't heal it by using Spirit, or whatever the fuck it's called. So, you know, manage your health wisely. Our next little feature are levers. You hit the lever, and something happens. In this case, it opened up this little area. Very nice. Our next feature are these platforms, which you can press S to go down, or press space to jump through, just like pretty much every single platformer you have ever played. Our next little feature is the jump pad. You jump on it, and you know, it makes you jump if you stand on it. Pretty cool. As you can see up in the top left here, we've got some sort of secret area that we can get to by using that jump pad. If we come up here, wow, it's a secret. You can go up and it fades away and it shows some stuff. Isn't that so cool? Isn't this so epic? Wow. Our next little feature are spikes. You fall into them and your health will go down and you'll get teleported somewhere else, just like in Hollow Knight. Well, I mean, it doesn't actually do any of that just yet, but it does teleport you, which is nice. Our next feature are these one-way platforms. As you may know if you've ever played a jumping platforming game before, if you press space a little bit, it should give you a little jump. If you hold space and you hold your jump button, you get a much longer jump, a much higher jump. So, if you try and just jump straight over these spikes here, you'll end up coming through to the other side of these, which you can't fall through by pressing S. And yes, the sprite is pretty much ripped from Mario, but what are you going to do? If you do a little jump, you can jump over it and get through to the next level. Our next little feature here are these lasers. I'll probably remove it from this area, but you know, it's a laser, it shoots you, and if you hit it, it'll either do some damage or teleport you back depending on where it's going to be. We don't really know yet, but you know. Our next little feature is the ability to jump on some objects if you hit them while going down. So here you can see this lever, if I hit it, I can jump on it. I should mention, of course, that all of the sprites and all of the features in this game are very, very pre-beta, and therefore should be taken with a grain of salt. Here we've got our next little feature, bouncy blocks. Wow, you can walk on them and they bounce. But you can see that if I keep jumping on it, I won't go too much higher than I would normally, because what you've got to do is hit them when you're jumping up. Whoa! You can see I can hit it and just have as many jumps as I want. And if I do it while I'm jumping, like so, no, not like that, like so, we can go much higher and get over this platform. Now, the way these bounce mechanics works are definitely going to change because they are a little bit confusing, so that'll probably won't be in the final game, whatever. Our next little feature here are these grassy platforms. You can see that if I jump on them and walk around on them, they'll do a little bit of particle effect, and if I jump on it, it'll shake a little bit. These are going to disappear after a little while after you touch on them, but we haven't actually got to that yet, so whatever. You can see that just like in any other platformer, if you change your arrow keys in mid-air, you can change the direction that you're going, which allows for jumps like this. Our next little object is the bouncy bit over here, the little bouncy ball. If you hit on it, you can jump on it, just like the bouncy block, but you can't walk on these. But you can use them to get to some cool little secrets, like this one up here. Whoa! I mean, there's nothing here, but you know, it's the thought that counts. Fun fact, you can actually use this to completely skip this section. You're meant to do it like this, but instead you can just do it like this, which, you know, is nice. Now, I'm not going to show you around the entire area around here, because it's not really needed, but I will quickly show you this little platforming section up here, just to get the idea of what we're kind of doing around here. Over here, you can see we've got a lever, and when we hit it, this area opens up, and it will open back up to the area that we were at before. That's a big part of Metroidvanias, is that they loop back on each other, which is very useful and very needed if you're going to have a big map like we are planning to have. So bosses are going to be a big part of this game. It's not exactly going to be a boss rush, but just like in Hollow Knight, your objectives are to get through these bosses, and once you have, you'll be able to complete the game's story. Our first mini-boss here is based upon Hayley Smith, and her name is Hayley Smith, the Dune Master. Hayley Smith does really like the movie Dune, so we figured, hey, why not make her attacks kind of based on it, you know, yeah. So, we have our Hayley Smith here. These sprites aren't very good, so I'm probably going to change them. But here we can see that we are about to have a Smash Announcer type prepare to fight jingle. Let's take a look at it here.
Prepare yourself. Fight!
Lovely. And you can also hear we've got some music in the background. This is not going to be her theme, because this is really not her area currently. It's just a kind of arena that we've set her up in. But this entire area will have much more of a desert theme to fit in with the Dune kind of atmosphere. That was our first attack that you just saw here. Let's take a look at our second. Pwah, the big-ass Dune worm from the movie Dune. Have you heard of the movie Dune? I have heard she's watched it like 9 fucking times. You'll notice with the Dune worm that I have to bounce on it to avoid taking damage and also avoid these falling big-ass spooky balls. Anyway, that's her second attack. Let's take a look at her third. These roundy ball, shooty ball things will zoom in and out and then eventually fly off her into whatever direction they're in, and then she'll come back to the center to showcase her fourth attack, which are these balls that fall from the sky, and you'll have to dodge them if you don't want to take any damage. So, how do you kill her? Pretty easy. You just hit her until her health reaches 0. You know, this is just what bosses are. You're gonna hit them, they're gonna hit you. One of you will eventually have your health reduced to 0, and the other one will win. As you can see, we've got these wave smashes from these rocks, which I really like. Very Hollow Knight inspired, but, you know, what can you do? So as you can see, I've reduced her health to 0. She hasn't died or anything. That's because I haven't implemented any death sort of animation yet, so I guess we're just going to move on to the next feature. Our next little feature here are conveyor belts. Well, it's a conveyor belt. If you move on it, it'll add some little bit of velocity to whichever way you're going, and it'll slowly move you if you're not moving. Sorry. I am allergic to these horrible sprites that I made. They're really fucking bad. Okay, and then we've got our next area here. Let me go into full screen here. You can do that anytime by just like pressing F. So you can see here, this is our next area, the library. So the library is the home of Noah Wildman, and he is the boss that we are about to showcase. His attacks are not finished yet, and a lot of them are going to change, and I haven't even implemented some of them at all, but I'm going to show you the 2 attacks that we do have ready. As you can see, this is definitely going to be a much bigger room, a much more epic fight than little Hayley, but let's take a look at it.
Prepare yourself. Fight.
So, Noah's attacks involve reading. Well, he's going to read a book, and depending on what book he reads is the attack he's going to give. Once he's finished reading his book, the book will throw itself at us. Let's take a look at his first attack, which is this prism. The prism is going to spin around and shoot some big-ass lasers at us, forcing us into this side of the screen, where some other shit will be happening to dodge. Let's take a look at his second attack, the Ravens. This attack is also going to be changed, but, you know, it's nice to see anyway. And yes, I realize the sprite looks like shit. Shut up. Anyway, he's going to summon a bunch of ravens, and the ravens will shoot themselves at you and just really get in your way, and if you hit them, well, you get hit. That's pretty much it. You'll see the book he's reading now is the Golden Time book. This will involve the big-ass clock up here, but I unfortunately haven't actually done anything with it yet. And his fourth attack is a spider book, which will involve some webby platforms and some spiders, obviously. Yes, I realize it looks like the Spider-Man logo. I don't care. It's recognizable. The final feature that I suppose I could mention is the music. So there's going to be a lot of music in this game. We've already got a wealth of over 80 plus tracks on the original Prepare Yourself page. You can see them all in this YouTube channel, Prepare Yourself Resurrections. There's a lot here that won't be used because the plot has changed and the gameplay has changed, but a lot of these things will probably be used. Mason White made a lot of these soundtracks, and I made some, and Alex Wilson made a couple. Some of them will be used, some of them won't be, but if you'd like to get your Prepare Yourself fix, by all means, go here and listen to these stupid fucking tracks that we've made. So that is pretty much all of the mechanics that we've got here. I might be missing a couple other things, but really that's all we've got so far. It doesn't look like much, and I've kind of been able to run through it in under 10 minutes, but there is a lot of work involved in this, and there's a lot more work to do. So I hope that you all guys will stay interested in this project, and I hope that I will stay interested in this project and actually finish it with Alex Wilson, who has been wonderfully helpful in really putting this all together and organizing all of this, and really doing some of the heavy lifting in terms of coding, because I'm really no expert in it at all. That's pretty much all I've got for today, but I will make some other feature updates later on. That's all. Thanks, idiot. Bye.